Hello everyone, this is Sacharan from Tech Deep Dive. In this quick video tutorial, we will see how to create datasets using the CRMA-dataset-creator. In case if you have very large files, I'm talking about gigabyte files. Like let's assume that you have a 10 gigabyte file or a 3 gigabyte file or a 4 gigabyte file. Like how can you utilize this utility to create datasets, or in case if you wanted to append or any sort of dataset operations if you want to perform, you can utilize this utility CRMA-dataset-creator. So this is a pretty lightweight RESTful client implemented by Salesforce that you can utilize, and it works on external data API. So without any further ado, we'll go into the details. So this particular GitHub is open source, anybody can utilize it, and if you go to the release section, so it will have simply a jar file which you'll have to import into any one of your locations where you wanted to perform these operations. And then to test it out, we also provided, I think Salesforce also provided some sample mock data files. So this sample mock data files contains a CSV file and schema file. If you look at that file once, this contains a CSV file called complaint CSV and the schema to it. Both of them should be utilized in order to create a dataset. So it basically works based out of external data API. So if you're not familiar with external data API, so there is a quick guide that is available, and you can go through this guide and how you can utilize this two objects called InsightsExternalData and InsightsExternalDataPart. So let's quickly go through this. So what InsightsExternalData does is like this enables you to configure and control the external data uploads. You can use it to provide metadata and trigger the start of the upload process, check status, and request cleanup and the cancellation process. So initially you need to create a InsightsExternalData a row or a record, and once you create this InsightsExternalData, and then you will have to create InsightsExternalData parts. So InsightsExternalDataPart is where you actually utilize to load your files. So if you go through the next paragraph, it clearly mentions that InsightsExternalData object is used with the InsightsExternalDataPart object, which holds the part of the data to be uploaded. So once you in case if you are implementing it new, so this is how you should take it, but this is already being implemented in that REST client. So the source code is also available. In case if you're interested, you can go ahead and read it. So what it does is, like in case if you upload a very large file, it breaks it into smaller chunks, and it will create InsightsExternalDataPart in association with InsightsExternalData that will load the data into the Salesforce. So that's more about what exactly that particular client uses, or the REST client uses. More of external data API, InsightsExternalData and InsightsExternalDataPart, both of them. Okay. So it basically splits the files into the 10 MB chunks and then loads sequentially one by one. So if you go to this particular client again, so it does need few things that you need to configure at your end at Salesforce side. So if you go through this particular GitHub repository, and this is how you should use it. So you should have a Java version installed in your machine. If not, you can use Zulu OpenZDK, and how to install it is, I mean, pretty much like simple. You can go ahead and install Java, and once you install it, just go ahead and look at the Java version whether it is installed or not. So once that is installed, you will have this command to execute it. Like so it will take the jar file as an input, and a lot of other parameters that you'll have to use in order to create a dataset. So we'll go ahead and see that what are those files. So it basically takes a lot of inputs. One is input file, which is obviously complaints.csv, and a schema file, complaint schema.json. And then what kind of operation you want to perform, append, create, all that stuff, and the username, and then password, and then dataset name that you want to give, and then label. What is the label for the dataset that you want to give, and where is that you want to store this dataset. and the endpoint, whether it is a sandbox or a production, depends upon your instance. You'll have to give login or a test.salesforce.com. And these are the two important things: client secret and client ID. So in order to communicate with the Salesforce application, so we will be creating the connected app. So through connected app, we will be utilizing this REST client to load the dataset. So if you're not familiar with how to create a connected app, so you can actually go ahead and look for the documentation. But I did create some while back, like I was automating stuff using Salesforce CLI. So I did create a part of the section how you can create the connected app. So in order to create a connected app, you need to have a certificate. So that self-send certificate that you can create using the OpenSSL. So I've given a step-by-step how you can create the self-send certificate using OpenSSL. And once that certificate is available, there are like steps again, a step-by-step guide to create the connected app. So once you create connected app by following all these steps, you will end up having something like this. So connected app, you will see something like this in your org. So you need to download, you need to copy it somewhere, the client ID and client secret, consumer key and consumer secret. So you need to click on this manage consumer details. It will end up showing the consumer key and consumer details. Let me just go and look for it. So these are the consumer key and consumer secret, which you have to pass it on to secret and key over here, consumer key and consumer secret. Now this completes the actual command that you want to utilize in your basically I'm showing it in a SFDX project workspace. So you can utilize this any one of your integration tools like MuleSoft or anywhere. Like in case if you wanted to utilize this, you can just go ahead and put it over there. So this is the command that we will have to execute. So if you look at this one, so this is the exact command that I framed, Java, and then jar file that I've renamed it to dataset.jar, and then input file is complaints.csv. So everything are under the same tree over here. Like if you see complaints.csv and then complaints_json, and then operation append I'm doing, then the username and then password. Also you'll have to give the dataset name and the label, where do you want to store it, and the endpoint, client ID and client secret. All of them were given over here. And if you go ahead and look into the org, so this is how my complaints dataset looks like. So I did already have that dataset called complaints in my org. So let me show that complaints dataset. So this is the complaints dataset, which is having almost like 36 million rows over here. So I'm going to append the same thing to this existing complaints dataset. So currently remember that this has the 36 million rows. If you go and look at the data, so it will have 36 million rows. So let's go ahead and before to that, so let's query these two objects and see like how it looks like, right? So so I'm querying InsightsExternalData and then InsightsExternalDataPart. So InsightsExternalData and InsightsExternalDataPart are interlinked. So InsightsExternalDataPart has the ID of the InsightsExternalData. So I've actually queried it only for today. If you look at this query, all of these things are coming from the event monitoring application. So event monitoring application also uses the external data API to load the files into Salesforce. So that's why you're seeing all these things like dashboards, reports, and then wave change, all these files. So let's go ahead and run this command in my Visual Studio Code and see like how it behaves. So this may take a while because the file is almost like 2.9 GB. So it will actually, so if you are familiar on reading the Java code, there are like the code is also available for you to go and read what exactly is executing, and all these are like open source. So currently this operation is being performed. You will observe one by one. You will observe inside external data and then inside external data parts. Both of them you will see it in the output section over here. As you can see, it initially created inside external data, and then it started creating inside external data parts. So that is being taken care internally in the code using the file utils. So there are almost like 14 parts that got created out of it. Like if you observe here, there are like 14, and intermediately you can see lots of operations going on. So these will be deleted at the very end. So all these are a part of this source code only. So now if you look at the jobs monitor, we still don't see that particular entry into the jobs monitor where the file upload is not happening so far. So just wait a minute. So once this operation gets completed, you will see that entry for the file upload. Just let's go back and see whether it is started or not. So I think you will see that output once it started over here. As you can see, the operation is completed from this side. Now let's go back and see whether there is an entry being made to it or not. Now you can see currently this entry came into the data manager section, where you are actually doing upload to the existing complaints dataset. Sorry, append operation. So this upload is being pushed into the salesforce side. Now this may take a bit amount of time, like 4 to 5 minutes. Once this gets completed, you can actually go ahead and see the row count gets increased from 36 million to 42 million, because this particular CSV contains 6 millions of data. Now you can come over here and see so what is that entry that made in the inside external data. So let me run this export again. So you can actually see there is an entry being entry came over here with the complaints dataset. Let me take this particular ID, and then let's go back to this particular query and filter it out for specific to this one, inside external data ID. Okay, now if you can see, so the data length is being actually the 2.9 GB file or whatever that we pushed divided into 14 parts, and this is the actual length of each file, and finally this file, whatever the remaining of that file is pushed into this one. So it clearly gives you, like if you put created date, as you can see, one after the other it got started. So it started from over here and then pushed all the way back to this one. So let's see like what does this count towards. So inside external data, if you go ahead and look into the data length, the length of the data file, probably I'm thinking this could be in bytes. Or bits. No, it should be bytes only somewhere. So let's actually into 13. Okay, so there are almost how many entries over here? 13 entries, and then this much. So this is the total file. So basically there is a encryption, the compression also happens, so it will not be exactly the 2.9 GB that you're loading. So again, so there is a compression that happens on the file that you have loaded. Based on that, it turned out to be like 441 MB probably. Whatever that 2.9 GB file that you have given is compressed to 441 MB probably. So ultimately this consumed 441 megabytes. So there is a way you can check this one. So all these so this particular external data API consumes one of the limit, so that is this one, daily analytics file upload size. So we are right in this aspect. So it actually consumed 421 MB of or 441, almost nearby it, because this calculations goes here and there. So 421 MB of the 50 GB. So these are in the MB size. So if you're not aware of those limits, like you can come over and see here, external data API limits. So the maximum file size for the external data uploads in a rolling period of 24 hours consumes 50 GB. Now with that file upload, we actually consumed 420 MB of the existing 50 GB limit. So that's how this works. I hope this is pretty much clear with respect to the inside external data and inside external data part and how that works. So all the hard work that has been put into that file, I mean the client itself, so there is no additional work that we have to take care. It is just that we have to keep our data in sanity, the data and the schema file both. So let's go ahead and look at the schema file also once. So there are like all these so this is the object, and then whatever the files that you have over here, all of them are mentioned with all the schema related to that file. So system field, multi-value field, or whatever that you can think of when you're uploading a data set, you will actually can download that schema, JSON schema, and then you can modify it accordingly. So in this case, you'll have to prepare that schema on your own, and then you can upload it. So this is one way, and if you're aware of it, like you can just tweak some of the rows into it, and then load a sample file into dataset, and then it will give an option for you to download the JSON for it. So that way also you can actually, in case if you're preparing anything new, you can get that way also. So what I meant by that was, if you go to the Analytics Studio. Okay, let me go to Analytics Studio. So create a dataset, a CSV file, and let me select any CSV, opportunity CSV probably. Yeah, a simple one I'll take. Next, so if you want to create the JSON file, right, so the schema file, so this is one way of downloading it. So you can just download this file and modify accordingly of your choice. So pretty much this also looks the same. As you can see, the format and the objects, all of them pretty much same, but you'll have to take care of the extra fields that that are being provided over here, like all these fields. I think something is better than nothing. So this way you can actually frame the skeleton of the file, the CSV file, and you can start adding the extra fields to it in case if you are loading anything new. Okay, so I think let's go back and check whether our file got appended or not. So this is still running. Let me refresh. It is on all the way to the, I think it is still registering it. Just give it a couple more minutes. It will go and it will be successful. So now this is completed. So we'll go back and see like what exactly this complaints dataset looks like. If you go back to your jobs monitor and data assets, just look for complaints dataset. This one. So as you can see, it was earlier 36 million and it got increased to 42 million because we appended actually like 6 million rows. So let's go ahead and look at the schema of it. So created is on 6th of this year, and as you can see, like data last refreshed points out to the today's date, 18th, 9th, and 10:42 a.m. I hope this video finds helpful for you guys. In case if you have any use cases where you want to load the external files like that contains GBs of data, you can actually utilize this particular utility in your if this is one-time activity, you can straight away perform in your machines. But if it is operation that you need to perform every now and then, you can actually put it in any of the MuleSoft or any third-party integrations, and you can utilize this jar file. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions around this topic. I'm more than happy to help.